talk to me a little bit about peptides. So I mentioned this, we obviously have all the weight loss peptides. And again, from what I take away is this dose is so massive, it essentially crashes people's metabolism, causes muscle wasting. I would imagine for you that is apocalyptic. Am I wrong?
Yeah, you're not
Let's
wrong.
start with am I wrong?
Okay.
Let's go there. So what do you think of these things then? Because I've had my arm twisted to a place where I'm like, okay, if it's a life or death intervention, if you've tried everything, if you're morbidly obese, like, okay. But I would still default to a micro dose. But
Okay.
I mean, this is you. This
You're
is
not gonna like
all
my
of you.
answer. It's fine. I'm happy we're gonna disagree on something. You're gonna be happy because you like bringing the heat.
Okay, tell me. Tell me.
Okay.
You like them.
So I believe in two things.
Okay.
I believe, well, number one, that people should have physical autonomy
Of course.
and they can do whatever they want to do. And as long as it doesn't, quote, hurt them, that they should be able to choose. Number one.
Of course.
So if someone wants to go on a peptide, they should be able to go on a peptide, number one. Number two, if we look at the data, roughly 74% of Americans are either overweight or obese. It is staggering. It is staggering. And the majority of people are not exercising. So we have a real problem. We have a real problem. Whatever we've been doing for the last 50 years or more has not worked. Just hasn't worked. So part of my job as a fellow was to run a weight management clinic at WashU. And I did this for 2 years. And we did not, at the time, these drugs were only approved for type 2 diabetes. They weren't approved for weight loss.
Right.
These people suffered so badly that, I mean, it wasn't success. It was a lot of failures, a lot of the time. When GLP-1s came on the market, available now to be used for weight loss, we are seeing something so transformative for people that it's unreal. Hold on though, which is wonderful, right? We have a major, major obesity problem. But now what's happening, if I just told you that we have a huge portion of the population is either overweight or obese, and they are sedentary, and now we can treat the obese part, yet we have never addressed the foundation of what the real problem is, which is muscle. We are now trading one epidemic for another.
That's exactly.
We are trading obesity for sarcopenic obesity, and there is no physician that is prepared to deal for that. They're not prepared to deal with that.
Peter Attia said that. He said that like he wouldn't even put someone on it until he does a DEXA scan. And there was even, I can't recall because it was years ago, but I think it was with Megyn Kelly. And he gave an interview where he said he's actually seeing people's body fat percentage go up, even though they're getting smaller.
So the reality is now there's a double-edged sword here, right? So the reality is, from the data that I have seen, these GLP-1s, which by the way, we use in our clinic.
I get it. Because would it not be a cost-benefit analysis though? Or are you titrating these things?
Yeah, of course.
Well,
Yes.
see, why is no one talking about that?
We titrate it. We also have anabolic agents that are FDA approved, or, we'll use testosterone. We will use things to make sure that their muscle is maintained. However, what we have to recognize is there is not something inherently caustic to skeletal muscle from these GLP-1s.
Okay.
Bad behaviors. And I would argue that we're going to start to see more and more data that this improves intermuscular adipose tissue, which, Jillian, that is the new biomarker. The new biomarker that we need to be paying attention to is intermuscular adipose tissue. It's the fat within the muscle.
Right.
You've got linemen that are healthy simply by the fact that they're moving their body and moving their muscle. Doesn't matter if their body composition is changing or they're losing weight or not. Just the act of exercising,
Right.
and I'm going somewhere, just the act of exercising, of emptying the tank of glycogen and using the fuel in muscle,
Right.
You're already becoming healthier. I believe that these GLP-1s affect that intermuscular adipose tissue. So not the athlete's paradox, the fat that is used for fuel around the mitochondria, but the fat that is in the skeletal muscle, that is deposited there because it's unhealthy, because it has
Right.
nowhere to go.
Got it.
These GLP-1s, I believe, improve, and we're going to start seeing more and more data that these GLP-1s can improve this it's called IMAT, this intermuscular adipose tissue. However, so I want to be clear, I think there's a lot of mistake. These don't affect skeletal muscle because you're using a GLP-1. You're affecting skeletal muscle
Because you're
because
not
you're on
eating. You're not
starvation
eating at
plan.
all, and you're not exercising. Right. Right, of
Right.
course. So you're losing. Well, with any weight loss regimen, you're going to lose a certain percentage of muscle. But it seems like what would be healthy is maximum 25% of your weight loss is lean mass. But then on these, it could be that. Lustig said, I think he was seeing upwards of 60% of it.
Yeah. And I actually got a lot of heat on this, which is interesting. So if we think about sarcopenia, which is a decreased muscle mass and function,
Yeah.
sarcopenia is about 4% per decade. 4% loss per decade.
Wow. Okay.
If an individual goes on a GLP-1 and loses, you name it, 14% of their weight loss is skeletal muscle or more, 50%, I mean, it all depends on the person, then in my mind, again, I got a lot of heat, but I'm a geriatrician by training. So we've seen sarcopenia, that if sarcopenia is 4% per decade of muscle loss, and people are losing double that on a GLP-1, and we know that the majority of people after 2 years go off of them,
Right.
you are now left with a frail uh, self.
All right, guys, if you like this clip and you want to watch the full episode, click here. And if you want more content like this, you can subscribe to the show by clicking